Hello everyone, I am Sherri and this is Me Now. First, I want to thank you all for being here with me through this journey. Thank you for sharing my posts and YouTube channel each week so that others can also share this journey with us. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like and follow my Facebook page to get all the updates and reminders of new videos and posts that are shared. Today I want to talk about liposuction surgery. This is a touchy subject with many people as it can be quite controversial. However, in my case it may be necessary. In this video I have a progressive picture of myself showing me as a young adult to my current physical form, me at the beach. I'm also holding my little Athusa, who was being especially sweet all day at the beach. I had some from online, but as they are not mine, I'm not able to share them. I'm going to do my best to describe what I can, as I don't currently have any pictures of my own to go with this topic. As I stated 2 weeks ago, I have discussed breast reduction surgery with two other people who have had it done. The first lady was petite in stature, and once she had the surgery done, the breast stayed the smaller size that was created for her. The second lady was built a little more like myself. She was a little on the heavier side, so in short time, her breasts have become the same size as they were before. Since breast tissue is mostly fat cells, if you are struggling with your overall weight, then those fat cells can end up kind of back where they were removed from. It has been some time since I spoke with these ladies, but I believe the second lady said that they came back even before a whole year was up. I am pretty sure there is no way for liposuction to be covered by any healthcare, as it is considered plastic surgery, basically not necessary. Here's a little history as to how I got this way. As a younger woman, I was quite thin and fit. I led a very active life, waiting tables, working in warehouses and factories, doing construction, as well as being a single parent and running after 3 children when I wasn't running at a job. I rarely ate and pretty much lived on coffee as my sustenance. Tasting what I was cooking for the children as I made sure they ate properly was my meal. I have always had terrible eating habits. As a child, I was the oldest of 7 children, and taking care of them was pretty similar to raising my own children. I was living on coffee since I was 7 years old. Therefore, staying skinny was pretty easy. Back in those days, things were very different from today. From the age of 7, I was taking care of kids at home. As with that many children, both my parents had to work a lot. When I wasn't caring for them, I was babysitting in several families in the neighborhood, and of course going to school full-time. At 11, I started dishwashing in a restaurant, and after only a few weeks found out I was allergic to the soap, so I moved into bussing tables. Let me tell you, doing that, you run. When I turned 13, I was waiting tables and even serving alcohol. Again, it was a very different time back then. I was married by 17 and had 3 children and several miscarriages by the age of 22. By the age of 29, I was a single parent and turned 30 later on that year. I know this is a little off topic, but I wanted to illustrate how my life was pretty much always a physical, on-the-run lifestyle, with little time left to eat and sleep. Staying skinny was super easy. As a single parent, I was usually working 2 to 3 full-time jobs, sometimes 2 full-time and 2 part-time, in order to support my family financially. It did not allow a great life for my children, as they also had to grow up faster than they should have. Essentially, I did the best I could with the knowledge I had. Physically pushing myself to prove I was worth the male wage was how we stayed afloat. As a female back then, I was allowed to do the male jobs in warehouses, factories, and construction, but still did not get paid as much as a male, just more than the average female. Over the years since the surgeries, I have not been allowed to be as active as I was in my youth. Before the first surgery, I explained the nature of my many jobs, and they said that I would be able to go back to them after healing. This was not the case. After the surgery, I was informed that I would no longer be able to lift the heavy weights I was required to, as well as many other restrictions. The weight limit I was given was no more than 5 pounds. I was used to lifting 50 pounds or more repeatedly. So I'm going to put in the comparison picture and then just kind of give you a little blip of each of those pictures of me. So the picture is going in now. So the first picture is me when my children were young. I was like 125 pounds. I had no problem staying there. Sorry, it's just a headshot. I was always the person behind the camera. The next one is me shortly after my first surgery. I had bumped up to 145 pounds, and that was really hard for me. But I thought, okay, I had a friend take a picture of me, and I thought, you know what, I look okay. I'm okay with this. I can deal with this. Stayed there for a little while. Then, about halfway between my first and second surgery, so somewhere around 3 years after the first surgery, and 3 years before the second one, I was sitting around 155, and then I was starting to get concerned because it seemed like every so many years I was putting on more and more weight, and I was able to do less and less work, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't keep up. I was still pretty young, still very young. That's my baby daughter there in that picture with me. All right, so then a few years ago, this is several years after the second surgery, I was working at the warehouse, and I was 175 pounds, and staying there was a heck of a battle, and I worked hard and fast at that job, faster than I should have. My body was not cooperating, and I was just depleting it terribly fast. Finally, I couldn't stay at that job, so moved on, and we'll get to that in a minute. And now my most current picture was this summer. I was 185 pounds, and I weighed myself a week ago, and I'm at 195 pounds. And I just keep crawling up. The less I can do physically, the less weight I can keep down. I can't lose any, but I can't keep a weight I'm sitting at either. And this is a problem. So the first surgery was supposed to be a repair of a prolapsed uterus. They used a net and sewed it to my spine, which they didn't tell me before. They told me after. Meaning that if I were to lift anything causing it to tear away from my spine, I run the risk of causing spinal damage and crippling myself. The surgery went badly, and they damaged several things. Little did I know, as they chose not to inform me, but they had also used a net on my bladder. I had never had bladder problems, so I don't know why they did it. But anyway, and caused problems that meant I had to use a catheter to pee. I went to another doctor and informed them that I needed this repaired, as I had to use a catheter and I could not lift anything. So this is a serious problem with my life. Needed things back to normal. It took many years, but I finally got in, and they did a complete hysterectomy. Basically gutted me entirely. They also removed all the netting and informed me that my bladder had been netted and was constricting the flow. This was never discussed beforehand and wasn't told to me after either, so I had no idea. They removed it, and suddenly I could pee by myself. There's lasting damage. We'll discuss that another day. So they also found that my problem with pain was not necessarily my uterus, It was endometriosis. This is something they usually can't see unless they go in, even with it as bad as I had it. However, the surgery was already decided for the hysterectomy, and I was already under for the surgery. So it went as planned, and they cleaned out all the endometriosis as well. Now that nothing was pulling on my spine, I thought that perhaps my life would finally go back to normal, at least physically, once my healing time was complete from the second surgery. I was wrong. I did go back to construction, as by this time my children were mostly grown and my baby had just graduated. Over the years, I had to downgrade my job to retail and serving tables again, as my body was always in constant pain and I was having difficulties getting any kind of a diagnosis. Then I found out I had rheumatoid arthritis and got on medications to help. I managed to get a job picking orders in a warehouse until even that was no longer possible. I went back to temping to give me the needed ability to call in sick or broken when required. I went to a few different jobs before finding the one I am currently at and have been for almost a year now. COVID was a stumbling block, although it is also a blessing in disguise, as I now temp doing sanitation, wiping tables, chairs, desks, computers, door handles, etc. As it turns out, this is something I'm currently able to do even with my depleting joint health. So far, even on my worst days, I am able to make it into work and struggle through the day, accomplishing the expectations of my position. But if I keep going down like this, how long will I even be able to do that? As for weight, this kind of work does not allow for any kind of weight loss ability. Due to my grinding, popping, dislocating joints and discs, losing weight in the traditional way, working out and keeping active, just aren't enough. I am simply not able to do enough to make the difference required. However, maybe once all this is rolling and they start fixing me, if I get the liposuction and breast reduction, that'll make a huge difference on my joints just right there. I will be able to keep the weight off, as my physical ability should improve with each and every joint that is repaired. My goal is to be physically functional, to live a long, healthy, and physically productive life when all is said and done. That's all I got on liposuction until I don't know, get some more information. That's it for that. This is Sherri on Me Now, signing off until next week. Have a great week, everyone.